Hello, hello, my friends. Welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for pushing play. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your comments of the show. Your support is so appreciated. If you are new to the show, please know that there is a YouTube version that you can watch so you can see my lovely basement that is in desperate need of decorating and stuff. Life in progress. But that doesn't matter. It's okay. This is where we're at right now, and we are embracing it. I've got my girls home from school, and we are just running all the time right now. So, I have a really fun episode for you. I've mentioned before that I have been really into weeding my yard. This is new for me. Megan of last year, if you were like, hey, do you want to go weed your yard? I'd be like, no, I got things to do. I still have things to do. However, I have found that weeding the yard feels very almost meditative. I've got the sun on my face. I've got dirt under my fingernails. You got that really satisfying rip when you get all the roots, that sound feels really good. And it just has felt so good to feel like I'm contributing to beautifying our home and our area. And I've really been embracing that. And as I have been pulling weeds, I have found myself a little bit surprised by my appreciation of some of these weeds. Some of them are really pretty. Some of them are really cool in the way that they twine themselves together and make this like rope. And some of them like bloom during the day and close up at night, and they look like they're spiky and thorny, but it's just really, thin leaves. So I've been really enjoying this experience, even as I essentially kill them and rip them out of the ground. I have been appreciating them. I even found some today, or the other day, I guess, that the leaves are green on top and they're purple on bottom, and the root is just this beautiful pink. I have been appreciating these weeds. I truly have. I was talking to a friend about this, and I was sending pictures to my artist friends, my design buddies, and I'm like, okay, I get that these are weeds. I understand that. And look how pretty. Look how pretty. Look how inspiring. And we were having this conversation a little bit, and my friend goes, what's the difference between weeds and wildflowers? And I was like, that's a good question. I have no idea. I don't know what the distinction is. And I'm sure there's a distinction. I didn't really care to look it up. But I think I mentioned that on another episode, and one of my cousins reached out to me. I have a lot of really fantastic cousins. And one of my cousins reached out to me and was like, we moved on to this property and there's a lot of plants. And as we started researching what these like natural plants are, these like naturally growing plants, we've learned that a lot of them have some sort of use. Either they're edible, or you can make teas out of them, or you can make salves out of them, or ointments, or medicines, or whatever. They're all very useful. He's like, what I've realized, and this is so good. This is so good. What he said is, what I realized is that a weed doesn't really have anything to do with the plant itself. What it has to do with is what you want for that space. So he's like, so if you want a monoculture lawn of just grass, then anything, no matter what it is, that springs up in that grass is a weed, because it's messing with your vision of the space. So it goes all the way back to vision. What do you want for this space? Now, we're talking right now at this moment, literal space in your yard. So I've got strawberries. Those are my only plant that is harvestable. This is our only garden plant. Okay, I guess we have green onions too, but whatever. I have a bunch of strawberries. And anything in our strawberry space that's not a strawberry is then a weed, right? Like it would be taking the nutrients in the space that we preserve for our strawberries. And our vision for that space is strawberries every June. So nothing else goes there, right? Does that make sense? However, we have lots of areas in our yard, roundabout, and lots of garden space that does not have purposefully planted plants that are growing like these really tall grasses. And Jake actually really likes them. I think they're okay. But anything, those could be considered weeds, or they could be considered really nice decorative tall grasses. However, we don't have a vision for that space. So who's to say? Are the tall grasses pretty, or are they weeds? Like I said, I'm on the fence. I don't have a vision about it. Taking this into metaphor land, because that's where we go, anything, you've got to have a vision for where you want to be in your life, where you want to go, how you want your life to be. And then as you look at your life, your vision, anything that doesn't help you reach your vision, no matter what it is a weed. Wow. We just took this garden analogy and put it into our life. So these weeds are different, right? Amongst our strawberries, we have a raspberry bush, or we did, and we have tried to rip it out, and it is a tenacious little sucker. But this thing, although somebody could want, obviously somebody did because they planted them, want raspberry bushes, to us, in the vision that we have in our space, that raspberry bush is a weed. So what you decide are weeds in your life may or may not be weeds in other people's lives. Those may be the perfect habits or place to live or whatever for other people, and not be perfect for you, because it goes back to your vision. What do you want for this space? I love that. I love that so much. The second my cousin said it, I was like, brilliant. Oh my goodness. This is brilliant. I love this analogy so much. We talked about vision early on. It's like the first few episodes of the podcast, because it's so important to have an idea of what you want for your life now and going forward. Giving you another example about the importance of vision. One of my problems that I have mentioned before tons of times is I tend to pile things. I have stacks here and there and all of this. And part of my problem with that is I don't really have a vision of where I want these things to go. When I do, I have no problems with it. My rings have a very specific home. My necklaces have a very specific home. My shoes have a very specific home. There are things that have very specific homes, and I have no problem getting those things there. It's when I don't have a vision of where I want these things to live, how I want them organized, that it just tends to pile up around me. Which also, if we take it back outside to the garden, is part of the reason we have such a weed problem, because we don't have a vision for the space, and not having a vision means we lack motivation to stay on top of the weeds, to go out and continuously pull them, and because there's no end goal. When I go out and pull weeds right now, it's just because we have a ton of weeds and I like the sun on my face and the feel in my hands and all of that. It's the act of doing it, not really because I have a vision for the space, because I don't. And once I do have a vision of the space, it'll be like, all right, let's buckle down. Let's get the tools out. Let's get the gloves out. Let's overhaul, because I know what I'm going to do. I don't have the overhaul right now. It's just like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Maybe I get to it today. Maybe I don't. Really wishy-washy about it, because I don't have a destination in mind. I don't have an end vision of what I want all that to look like. Same is true for your life. It's hard to overhaul habits if you don't have an idea of what you want your everyday to look like. It's hard to overhaul your eating when you don't have an idea of how you want to feel, how you want to look. And you say, yeah, sure, it would be nice if, but yeah, sure, it would be nice if is the equivalent of me being like, yeah, sure, it'd be nice if my backyard looked great. It's not specific enough for me to actually make it happen. Right now, it just is what it is, and I go out there and I work on it sometimes, really wishy-washy, because I don't have a vision for that space. So your weeds are not necessarily going to be somebody else's weeds. Your weeds could be somebody else's wildflowers, and somebody else's wildflowers are going to drive you nuts, and you're going to want this perfectly manicured tulips go here, daisies go here, daffodils go here, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful. And that's fantastic. And you get to create that however you want. It's going to start with a vision, though. I love that distinction that my cousin made. It has nothing to do with the plant. It has nothing to do with the habit. It has nothing to do with the schedule, the work, the whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your vision of your space, your life, what you want things to actually be like. That is so good. So you can thank my cousin for this wonderful episode that he inspired. And I'll keep talking to him because he's great and I love him. And now I just made it weird. So there we go. I was on a really good cadence and then I just made it weird. And so there we go. Didn't have plans to stop talking to him, so I don't know why I had the need to say that. Okay. Before I make this any more weird and awkward, there's bound to be an awkward episode somewhere. I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you and all your support and all my realness over here. And I hope you have a great day with all the sparkly things. Bye for now.